Get ready for Netflix's gripping new medical drama, Pulse. Set in a cutting-edge Miami trauma center, third-year resident Dr. Danny Sims is unexpectedly thrust into a promotion when beloved chief resident Dr. Xander Phillips gets suspended. Then, with the emotional and physical stakes at their highest, a storm will push the hospital and its residents to their limits. Witness how life can change in a heartbeat when you're operating under pressure. Watch Pulse April 3rd, only on Netflix.
An in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Half hour brought to you by our good friends at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. Imports, domestics, and microbrews, the best selection of beer anywhere. Wine coolers, water, soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and out every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. And ready-to-drink cocktails. That's right. High Noon, Crown Royal, Jack Daniels, all at and the pickle bar led by the Barrels and Dills, indeed second to none at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. One note before we get to Frank Bodani. As expected, Buzz Williams has accepted the job at Maryland. He leaves Texas A&M. It is a 6-year contract at Maryland for Buzz Williams. Okay, let's bring in the outstanding Frank Bodani. Sir, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Thank you, Steve. I really appreciate it. What a time of the year, huh? Football,
oh, it's crazy.
Ice hockey.
Everything. Everything going on right now. Baseball. You were at Pro Day the other day. Just general impressions of what you picked up there.
Well, I mean, it was always good to talk to a couple of guys, that we're going to be focused on, who didn't work out there necessarily that day, but Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter, they're high priority. And I think, I think we learned that Abdul Carter doesn't have to work out, and it's just, is he going to be the top few picks in the draft? And I think it just kind of solidified, having a meeting with the Cleveland Browns that last week, and they've been picked second. And, I mean, we're just looking at Penn State, right, with continued lineage here at defensive end pass rusher. Chop Robinson, Micah Parsons, Adafi Owe, now Abdul Carter, and I think he's going to go higher than any of them.
Yeah, I think he will as well. And again, I don't think Tyler Warren had to work out. I mean, the bottom line is, I'll tell you a quick story, Frank. The other day, Jack Ham was at practice. He was there on Thursday, and he was talking to Devon Thomas. And, of course, Devon the next day was going to be working out for the pros. And Jack says, back in my day, we played the bowl game, and 1 month later was the draft. He said they basically just looked at back then film, and they made judgments on the kind of player you were. He said, we didn't go through any of this workout stuff. Essentially, right. Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter have said, our video speaks for itself. Pick us.
Right. And you know what? A couple of the guys who did need to work out, I think, did well, and that's KJ Winston ran very well, looked really strong, looked good. He definitely helped himself, and so did Jalen Kimber, I think. He ran really well. And, a lot of these guys didn't do much at the combine who were there, but I think all the guys, they didn't do everything, but I think they helped themselves. Whether they're going to be mid-round picks or late-round picks or in free agent, a guy like you mentioned, Devon J. Thomas, doesn't matter to me where he gets drafted. If he gets drafted, I think he's proven who he is. I think he's going to do well in the next level.
Yeah, and I think so. To me, the guy above all, I thought, Kimber obviously helped himself. I mean, Kimber ran a 4.38. Kobe King ran the best 40 time of his career. They helped themselves. the guy that needed to was KJ Winston because people hadn't seen him for a long time.
Yeah, he looked great. I mean, I thought, you wonder, right, with a knee injury, what that's going to be like and when. But, I mean, he said he didn't run quite as fast as he had done a week or so before. But, I mean, 4.50 is, I think, pretty good. And I think, again, that goes on top of we know what kind of player he is. And we just missed out on getting to see it for most of last season. But I think we should not forget what type of safety that guy was at Penn State, but what he will be, in the NFL.
Yeah, I just think he had to put up a representative time. And I know he's run upper 4.3s, lower 4.4s. I mean, that part will come back. He just had to put up a time because, again, same story with him. He's got video that shows how he can play.
Oh, gosh, yes. And I think, how – he commented on how great the Penn State defense did without him. But, I see him last Friday, and it just keeps thinking, like, my gosh, what would that have been like if he would have got his shot to play? But credit to him for doing the work to come back and look as good as he did Friday. So, to me, there's no doubt where he's at going forward. I mean, I would be surprised if he's beyond the third round. I don't think that's happening.
Right. I agree. Under the radar players that you're interested to see for Penn State football this year that could make a difference and help this team, who'd be under the radar of the fans that you're going to keep an eye on that may be somebody that helps?
Well, I'm looking at the positions. They bring back so much, but there's some positions where they bring back maybe one or two vets, but they need one or two younger guys or someone else to step up. And I'm mentioning defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, for example, on defense. So the young guys on defense, I guess, is I'm looking at, and that's at defensive end, like someone like Jalen Harvey and Max Granville. I mean, they need somebody. They've been so good with two defensive ends that are tremendous players. They need someone there to step up to be opposite Denai Dennis Sutton. So who's the young guy, right? Who's the guy that we haven't seen yet do that? So my eyes are on them. And at defensive tackle, I think Xavier Gilliam is somebody who, another young guy who looks impressive, but someone's got to step up next to Zane, and I think, to me, I just am focusing for, maybe I don't know if I'm fair or not, but I'm just focusing on that guy in the spring.
Right, and that is fair. What about, and we may see this on Blue-White Weekend, but how interested are you as to how close the competition could be between Jackson Smolik and Ethan Grunkemeyer to be the two?
Well, yeah, I guess, I'm intrigued, I guess. I think I got an idea that Ethan is going to be a guy who's going to progress steadily, and we've seen glimpses. We've heard a lot of people talk about him. Jackson, we just haven't had that chance with the injury. So I'm intrigued to see what he can do, and maybe a little bit of an eye test there as much as possible in a spring scrimmage as to what he looks like on the field and the body type and just maybe comparing. What's he look like compared to Ethan? Because you don't know. I mean, they don't have a lot there in experience behind Drew. So, one injury away, you always talk about the starter, but, one of the backups goes down. I mean, so, yes, quarterback definitely. That's a tremendous under-the-radar pick.
What is the reaction down there to Penn State getting to the Frozen Four in hockey?
I think it's maybe still hit people by surprise a little bit who are not already hockey aficionados. I think we have to grow this a little bit in different realms, I think, but what the talk is more, and I think them playing their big games, their playoff games in Allentown helped because it's not far away. They didn't have to go to, 5 states away to play this exciting round. And I think when you're the hottest team in the country, then that begins to resonate no matter what your fan following or knowledge base was before this. But it's just growing. And I think, it's steps, right? So they've been really good for quite a while, but not like this. And I think this is going to resonate going forward no matter what they do next week. I mean, this is big. Exposure, right? Then that's what they need. I mean, look at wrestling. I mean, what a following they have, but it's not like football and basketball and baseball. But the steps that they've done, oh my goodness. So, Penn State's maybe third national championship in 3 months on the doorstep. It's a
possibility. They got BU first, which will be that should be a heck of a game coming up next Thursday night. But can you think about this year? Men's hockey, Frozen Four, women's volleyball national championship, wrestling fourth consecutive national championship, 10 All-Americans, and a points record. And women's soccer in the Elite Eight, and football in the college football playoff Final Four. This has been quite a run, hasn't it?
I don't know if is there another year where you think of that has had maybe resonated with you with that kind of overall success? I mean, I think it's just building to me.
Yeah, to me, it goes. I said years ago, and I meant it. I mean, it wasn't like I was trying to. I'm not out there trying to sell a ticket or anything. People think I am, but I'm not. I just make observations,
sure.
And I just had this general sense in just being around all these teams, because I have to be because of the talk show on Thursday night. I have a different coach on every week, and I talk to them. I said years ago, I think the best is yet to come. I think we're starting to see that.
Well, yeah, and you just mentioned baseball, and that's not been a sport that has maybe garnered a lot of attention. But look how they finished last year, and it just seems like maybe they're turning a page. Like that wasn't just an anomaly. I think so getting attention to sport that maybe you didn't always think about right away when you hear Penn State, but that's pretty impressive. And I think the new leadership is just helping. And, you run into Pat Kraft everywhere we go here with these championship runs. I don't know if there was one man more exciting in hosting up the national championship wrestling trophy, so to speak, than Pat looked like a couple of weeks ago.
Well, absolutely. And look, you have to have somebody that sees what something can become. And then I think gives them the freedom to allow that to happen. In other words, don't put so many restrictions around what you can and can't do. And I think you can see I think that's part of what Pat does. All right, tell me what you need. Let's talk about how we can make it happen instead of, no, you can't do that. And I think has opened some doors to some of the success. That's just me from 10,000 feet saying it.
Oh, same. Yeah, same from me. And I think maybe some of the potential for this, what you're seeing, has been there in some ways, and you need to be freed and to maybe say that, hey, football is what we got to pour money into it. That's the sport, but everybody else benefits too, right? It's different levels of freedom, I guess, or different levels of support. But I just. And he's such a good. I mean, we love to interview this man. I think we need to have him in front of the mic with us much more often. And he did it back in beginning of February, and somebody asked him about wrestling, and just him talking about Cale Sanderson and what the success was. You can hear the excitement, but it's a great view of what can happen, and maybe reminding people how really good some of this is. I mean, it's not just football, obviously.
Frank, always a pleasure. It was great to see you, by the way, on Friday. As always, you are the best. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, the end of April will be coming here pretty quickly, right? So,
yeah, it will be. It will be. I'm just trying to get through the April Fool's Day, where all the ridiculous fake stories come out, and you sit there and go, and then you've got some sucker that falls for it, and you're like, okay, great. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, we'll get through this. We're on the downturn here in the day. April 2nd will be.
Yeah, it can't happen fast enough. Frank, thank you.
Take care. You too. Have a wonderful one.
You too. By the way, it is true that Buzz Williams is taking the Maryland job. Just so you know, that is true. It's been expected. Look, he campaigned for it. He campaigned for it. All right? Simple as that. And so, guy wants to campaign for it. You know darn well he's going to get it.
I feel like Buzz realizes he has a shelf life because when he went from Virginia Tech to Texas A&M, it wasn't like he was being pushed out, and it's not being pushed out of Texas A&M either.
No. He's interesting. Look, it benefited Penn State in the end. But I'll never forget talking to DJ Newbill, who had committed to Marquette. And then Buzz, because he thought there was a better player, pulled the rug out from underneath him. And I never forgot that. And it always has bugged me that, and again, it probably bothers me more in that I'm somebody I think is like loyalty means something. And that bothered me. But look, the timing was right. Because the Texas A&M Buzz Williams buyout, as of today, dropped to $1 million. This being April 1st, his buyout dropped to $1 million. So that was easy for Maryland because they're getting $2 million from the buyout from Villanova. So they come out $1 million ahead.
Somebody made the joke, now they can stay in New York City this Christmas.
I hope he enjoys it. I'm sure. I've heard the lights are beautiful. All right, we will come back with more in a moment. Brought to you by Brewers Outlet on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
There's something to be said about a sale with a handshake, a service technician who really knows what he's doing. They can explain it in English what the problem is. There's nothing better than having that friend you could trust in the area. That's Sunbury Motors, where you get selection, knowledgeable salespeople, and prices that fit your budget, and more important, that friend you can trust. Welcome to Sunbury Motors, Kia, Ford, and Hyundai. You could shop other dealers and compare prices, but at Sunbury Motors, you get their lowest price promise. They research the current used vehicle market and guarantee their used car prices are the lowest. If you find a lower price, Sunbury Motors will beat it. 3 dealers all in one. See their full new and pre-owned inventory at sunburymotors.com. Pick out a vehicle you like and schedule your test drive online. Follow them on Facebook. Sunbury Motors Ford and Hyundai, North 4th Street, Sunbury, and Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.